There you go. Okay. Alrighty, welcome to my nutrition class. Today we're going to talk about macros, which is a very surface level topic, so we'll go more in depth in the future, but we're just going to touch the basics for today. Go ahead and switch the screen. Elena is my MC for today, so she's handling the screen switching. I have a certification from the Integrated Institute for Nutrition for Integrated Health and Wellness Coach, as well as 2 certifications from NASM as a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach. So I've been doing this for about 3 years now. So yeah, this is our first virtual class. So we're going to see how it goes and hope it goes well. One of the first things people tell me when they come into the gym or come into my office virtually is, I want to lose weight, I want to gain muscle. And my first question, without a doubt, always is, are you eating enough? And their answers, without fail, are always, I'm eating too much. And my response to that is, I doubt it. I doubt you're eating enough. And if you are eating enough, I doubt you're eating enough of the right things. So that's kind of what we're going to go over today. Are you eating enough, and or are you eating enough of the right things? Go ahead and switch. So we're going to go over macros. Macros are the big building blocks of nutrition. There are also micronutrients, which we'll talk about in another session, but macronutrients is what we're going to go over today. They play essential roles in our body, just generally functioning. So making sure that our muscles are being built, our organs are working, and supporting recovery and maintaining overall health. Okay, so the first one is protein. Protein is essential for building and repairing, as well as maintaining muscle tissue. So this is important because as we work out, we purposely put micro tears into our muscle. And that's the point of building muscles. We put micro tears in our muscles, the muscle repairs itself and grows. So if we don't have enough protein in our diet and we are doing the process of growing muscle, aka putting micro tears into our muscle, then we aren't able to rebuild it efficiently. So some of the bad side effects that would come out of that is you're going to feel excessively sore. You're not going to build muscle like you should, or even worse, you might start to deteriorate muscle because your body can't keep up with how much damage you're doing to it. Just a couple examples of protein that you can get into your diet. Of course, red and white meats, beef, venison, chicken and turkey, seafoods, so all fish and all shellfish. Vegan and vegetarian options are beans, tofus, nuts, seeds, and legumes. Some extras are eggs, dairies, and some grains. And then, of course, there's supplements, which is protein powders, bars, and collagens, which we'll talk about in a later slide. But the key here is protein is super important in all of our workouts and building muscle. So the next one is carbs. Carbs is super important for maintaining energy. It's our primary source of energy, or I should say quick energy within our body. It's also essential for powering our brain and nervous system through our daily activities. So if you ever feel like you have a lot of brain fog throughout the day, or you hit the 2 p.m. slump, the likelihood is you're not eating enough or enough of the right carbs. This provides sustained energy throughout the day so that we don't spike our blood sugar and then crash our blood sugar, which is that 2 p.m. slump that everyone feels. And it also supports brain function, overall endurance, so that it keeps us going and going efficiently throughout our day. There's 2 different kinds of carbs. There's complex carbs, which is the carbs that we want. They're the, I'm going to use air quotes here, healthy carbs. The reason that they are healthier is because they're digested slowly and provide long-lasting energy. So going back to those energy slumps at like 2 p.m. where it hits everyone, what likely happens is you eat a more sugary, simple carb, your blood sugar spikes up, you get all this energy, but it comes down quicker and you hit harder at the bottom. So you end up feeling worse off than you were in the beginning. So that leads right into simple carbs. Simple carbs are things like the white breads you see in stores. Those are quick energy sources and make us feel really good in the moment, but crash us really hard about 30 minutes to an hour later because they don't sustain us throughout our day. A couple examples of complex carbs are going to be brown rice, quinoa, starchy vegetables like potatoes, whole grain breads, pastas. There's also a good line of bean pastas coming out recently that are really good. Lentils, beans, and then of course fruits. And then there's fats, and this is the controversial one because the question I always get is, well, there's no healthy fat, right? There is. Healthy fats are essential for our diet. They support hormone production as well as nutrient absorption. So for women, which is most of the people that are going to be seeing this, this is extremely important to get into our diet and to get into our diet in an appropriate amount, because if we don't get this into our diet, we're going to have things like hormone imbalance, which leads to a whole host of issues, as well as we're not going to be able to absorb the nutrients that we are getting from our other foods as well, because you don't have enough fat in your body to sustain that. So then you become nutrient deficient, which isn't good either. So a couple healthy fats are going to be fish, avocados, avocado oils, nuts, nut butters, olives, olive oils, chia seeds, and flax seeds. And you can start to see a lot of overlap with other foods from some of the other macronutrients in here as we go through this. So those are going to be super important to get into your diet. Okay. So we talked about supplements in the protein section. Let's just touch a little bit on it now. The question I always get is, should I be supplementing and what supplements should I take? And the key to that is maybe we should be supplementing. Supplements should be used as a Band-Aid and nothing else. A lot of people and even modern marketing will push that supplements are a meal replacement or something that you can eat for the long haul. But ultimately, supplements are artificially produced nutrients that replace food, and that's not what we want. We want to use supplements as a way to aid us into our healthy habits and making sure that it guides us into eating those nutrients out of our food, rather than relying on supplements to do everything for us, because ultimately your body can't absorb those artificial supplements as well as natural nutrition from food, and it's not complete. So you will end up in some respect nutrient deficient, assuming you're not taking 20 supplements, which is just honestly insane. And so these are a couple of the supplements I choose to use. I prefer Naked Nutrition. It's a big supplement company with a lot of different kinds of stuff if you go on their website and look, but they are third-party tested third-party tested quite frequently, so that you know that whatever they say is in their product is only in their product and you're not getting anything extra that you maybe don't want. And then, of course, there's Zena Nutrition, which has a good line of stuff, but I take their collagen and biotin because you just add that to your water and it's a good way to get that in very easily. It's a little extra protein. Okay, so then there's, without fail, someone always comes to me and say, oh, I'm eating bad food, I'm eating good food. And I've been using air quotes a lot throughout this, talking about different kinds of things very specifically, because there's no bad food within reason, right? We can label things good food and bad food, but I think that's just an excuse for us to limit ourselves and put ourselves into a box, which is not what we want. All food is good food within reason, aka 10 chocolate bars is not good for you, but one dark chocolate bar can be very good and beneficial because it has a good amount of magnesium in it, and that's something that we need within our diet. There's obviously exceptions to the rules. If you're going to tell me that you're going to McDonald's every single day, I'm going to tell you maybe not. Maybe that's not so good. But all food is good food within reason as long as we know how to use it. Okay, so then that begs the question, how much should we be eating? And that very much depends on you. Average for people, it depends on how much you're doing. Are you sitting at a desk job working? Are you working out twice a day? How old are you? What's your gender? What is your health status? That is why it's really hard to give very general recommendations, because everyone I've recommended anything to has been vastly different based on their lifestyle and their history. So when we think about calories, though, there's something called our basal metabolic rate, your BMR, and that's the basic baseline number of how many calories you need to be getting in a day for your body to function. And when I mean your body to function, I simply mean sitting on the couch and being alive. And that baseline lands for most people around 12 to 1300 calories. 12 to 1300 calories, I'm going to repeat it again because I think this is important, but 12 to 1300 calories is absolute baseline. That is how much you need in order to sit on the couch and do absolutely nothing during your day. So if you're doing things like working out, going to the gym, walking during your day, driving during your day, using your brain at all, you're going to need significantly more in order to get through your day. So only eating that baseline amount is not going to get you feeling good or thriving throughout your day. That's just merely surviving and not feeling very good. General guidelines for active adults, and like I said, this is a huge range based on you and your lifestyle, but it can land anywhere between 1800 and 2200 calories per day. So that's a huge amount more, and obviously we want to make sure we're eating the right things to hit that number, but simply staying at that baseline just isn't enough, and that's where most Americans tend to land, is right around that baseline. So when we talk about all of this in food, because this is a lot of information, we want to reframe our thought to simply eating food and to using food as medicine. All foods have a purpose. Like the macros that we've just discussed in previous slides are just scratching the surface on what these foods can do for your body. So when you're eating your food, you want to instead think of, I need to eat because I'm hungry, to I need to eat and what am I putting in my body and how is this going to impact me, either in a positive or negative way. That way you can start realizing, okay, these 10 chocolate bars might make me feel good in the moment, but down the line, they're really not going to make me feel good and they're not going to contribute to my overall health. You also want to focus on quality and focus on color. The more color you have, the more nutrition you're getting into your diet. And you want to focus on whole, balanced foods. So you should, at least every single meal, be picking something from those macro lists: 1 carb, 1 protein, and 1 fat, to at least fit into your diet. And then, of course, making it as colorful as possible. That's how you're going to aim for balance and make sure that you are at least trying to get everything that you need. And then there's obsessing over calories. You shouldn't even be worrying about calories if you're still trying to adjust your diet. Calories are way overhyped, and there is a time and place for them, and they are important in making sure that we're eating enough, but it's not something that we should be putting our attention into every second of the day. We need to make sure that we are focusing, like I said before, on color, hitting all 3 macronutrient groups in every meal, and then making sure we're eating until we're full. We just want to make sure we're feeding our bodies and not creating a negative experience off of food. And then that comes down to, what are my recommendations? I don't have recommendations for you because there's no one size fits all approach. Every person that I've given recommendations to has been vastly different from one another based on lifestyle, dietary needs, everything. So in order for me to give you more specific recommendations, I would have to work with you one-on-one. But some general recommendations that I can give you is what I've already said in previous slides. Make sure that for every single meal, you're getting at least one of the macro groups into that meal, and make sure that you're eating enough to fuel your body. So over that 12 to 1300 mark, because we want to thrive. We don't want to just sit on the couch and be alive. Are there any questions? No? You can skip to the next slide. Okay, if there's no questions, then you can stick around and we can chat, or Elena and I will talk and you guys can listen. But this is my contact information if you need to get a hold of me or have any further questions as you rewatch this in the coming days. And then all of you that signed up to do this will get a freebie within 24 to 48 hours. We're going to process this video, and then we're going to send you guys another email with a recording of this video as well as your freebie that we're going to give you for attending this event. So thank you for joining.